everyone. Welcome to the It's live show. My name is Rodney Smith, and I'm so glad you're here. Oh boy, I am. It's another live show. I know it's a live show because I'm in like a sweat before it starts every time. I had some questions that people had provided beforehand, and I couldn't find the USB stick in time. But here we are. It's happening. It's live, and I'm happy to be here. And now it's all uphill from this point on. Everything's going to work super smooth. So thanks for joining me. Let me run through a couple of things that I always like to do at the top of the live show, which is tell you when the next live show is going to be. This is my way of convincing myself to keep doing this by committing to the next one. So the next one, we try to do this every second Wednesday. The next one is scheduled for July 8th at 7:30 ET, Eastern Time. So just like now, but 2 weeks from now. And also, if you're ever unsure if it's a week for a live show, because sometimes I might make adjustments to the schedule, you can find our schedule on watchitplayed.tv, and you'll see our schedule sort of for the whole month. It's been an interesting experiment trying to have a schedule for the month. We sort of hit most of the things in there, but not always. But I really try. Oh yes, and if you'd like to ask a question during the live show, because we will be doing questions and answers, you can do that by posing your question using this format that says, question, put question in all caps, and then after that, put your question. That way, we can find your questions a little bit easier when we're trying to find them to try to answer them. Okay, so that's your homework. You got to do that. Oh, and I'm going to share a couple of things with you. Let me see. I'm going to see if I can get set up to show you. I have a couple of quick pieces of news to share with you. So I wanted to let you know that the Virtual Gaming Con is going on right now. It's running from June 24th to 28th. This is a collaboration between Board Game Geek and the Dice Tower to create a virtual convention for people. So there's not like a physical space you go to, it's virtual, it's right in the title. So if you go to boardgamegeek.com/VGC, you'll get kind of the overview here of what the convention is. I really should have put the link to this in the description of the video. I will do that afterwards. And if you go to boardgamegeek.com/live, you can actually see their live streaming that's going on right now as well. And they have a whole program of events throughout the day. I guess you could go watch it now if you wanted to, but I'd be happy if you stuck around here and maybe go see it after the fact. It's your life though. Do what you want to do. But yeah, that is what's going on with the Virtual Gaming Convention. I haven't been paying a lot of attention to it. I do some collaborative work with Board Game Geek, but June has been so busy. There wasn't a way for me to fit in a virtual convention on top of everything else. So I hope to check a few things out though during it. There's all kinds of places you can go game with other people. Tabletopia has, I think, made all of their premium games available for free. Look, there's a website there. You should check it out for the details. But it's a way to find people. I think there's Discord channels as well. You can connect to people on, find players who want to play games that you want to play, and play them. So that sounds fun, right? What else do I want to tell you? Oh, the other thing we have to do is we have a wonderful sponsor for the show, and it is Board Game Arena. So let me take you over here, because I got something really cool that I want to show you from Board Game Arena. And thanks to them again for helping to sponsor the live show. Downforce is now available to play as a beta. All right, and last time in the live show, I showed you a game, what was it? Potion Explosion. And they had a tutorial video there, and when I clicked on it, it wasn't Watch It Played. It was the lovely Ivan Van Norman from Geek and Sundry. But this time you can see here, it does say how to play by Watch It Played. So they've got a video explanation. If you don't know how to play, you can come here and you can click on the link. Okay, error occurred. Please try again. All right, so it looks like maybe the link for the video for the Watch It Played isn't... I'm not going to take this personal. Look, mistakes happen. I'm sure they'll figure it out some other time. But this is a really cool game, and you can go here. Let me see. Let me show you. Can I go in here? I'm so flustered now. Where's the? Oh, you can see the game in action. Here we go. See the game in action, and you can see they have the map here for you to drive around on with the cars. And the game starts with the auction and all that sort of thing. So Board Game Arena is a place you can come and you can play games for free. You sign up, you get an account, and then you can hook up with other people and play from all around the world. They have 4 different tracks for Downforce here, and I think you can play up to 6 players. So pretty cool. And, look, you could just go to the YouTube page and find the Downforce video that way. So, yeah. Okay. Well, we'll figure all that out. So I have questions that have been sent in advance for the live show. If you want to go to our Watch It Played BGG Guild, you will find, usually I'll have a thread going there before the live show to let people ask questions in advance, maybe people who won't be there during the live show, or just to give us an idea of some of the questions we might want to answer in advance. I have one question that came in here from Amanda Panda. It says, you can flip a box, but can you flip a cake? So the reason why I wanted to show this question is because this is an example of the kind of questions I don't want during the live show. This is a silly question, and what I want during the live show is serious kind of gaming conversations to happen between us. And this is, Amanda, this is just, it's silly, frankly, and I'd rather we didn't get questions like that on the live show. So, oh, what is that? I'm hearing the It's Live show call-in phone. There, just one second. I got to. It's new technology. You have to put these little headphones on first. Let me just see who it might be. Hello? Hello.
Hi, Rodney.
Ella.
Hi.
Is this Ella from Ella Loves Board Games?
It is.
Oh, your face is very tiny. Sorry, just one second. It's the technology of the phone is. I mean, you're
I'm coming all the way from Australia.
That's what it is.
Tiny here.
Yeah, there's a little like part of you here. Hold on. Let me
Yeah.
see if I can get more of you here. Okay, this is a little better. A little better. I'm gonna make some quick adjustments on the fly. Oh yeah, this is better. You are calling from Australia. Oh my goodness.
I am.
Okay, well this is.
And I was watching, and I heard you were hoping for some serious conversation.
Thank you so much. This is
I'm
what I
here to
needed.
help.
Ella, I needed someone to call and have some serious conversation with me. So thank you. Thank you. So what kind of serious conversation would you like to have?
Well, I would seriously like you to flip a cake. How about that?
Okay, so you want me to flip a cake too?
Yes, flip that cake. Flip that cake.
You're not helping. Look, you're calling from Australia. This is a long distance phone. This must be costing you a ton of money. Here, let me just put you on speaker so I don't have to hold this to my ear anymore because that's how this works. So hold on. The only problem, though, you see, is I don't have a cake, so I can't flip a cake if I don't have a cake. Oh wait, hold on. Someone's brought a cake. Someone's brought a Happy Canada Day cake. It's a little early, premature, so I guess I could flip a cake. Is this what we're gonna do? I guess we're gonna see if I can flip a cake.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, here's the deal. If we're gonna do this, we gotta be serious about this. Gotta find some way to make this serious.
It is.
Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have we'll do a little poll. We're gonna have a poll run. It's actually gonna go live on the channel in about 3 minutes. Over on the community tab for Watch It Played. Let me just bounce over here for a second, Elle. You just hang tight. I'm gonna show everybody kind of how the community
Hanging in tight.
yeah, how the community tab works. Let me just bring that up for a second here. Okay, everyone, so if you go to the Watch It Played page, you should be able, if you're at the home page, that's fine, that's here. But if you click over on community, you will find a poll here. It's not here yet. Maybe I can post it now. Let's see. Edit. Maybe I can. I don't know. I've never done this before. I can't seem to. It'll go live in a couple minutes. Anyway, there'll be a poll here that asks, can Rodney catch a flipped cake? And you'll either vote yes, if he can flip a box, he can flip a cake, or that cake is going to be on the floor, no question. So whichever one you vote for is fine, although I'll be monitoring to see where these votes end up to be sure. But here's what I'd like to do. I would like to do a little fundraiser. So this is a fundraiser here, a charity campaign to support the Gord Downey and Channy Wenjack Fund. Channy was a young boy who was put through the Canadian residential school system. This was an unfortunate program, frankly, that was started in Canada to try to integrate the Indigenous people into European Canadian culture. And a lot of kids were taken from their families. And this is a kid who escaped from the residential school and was trying to get home, which was like 600 kilometers away. And unfortunately, he died. And so this is a fundraiser that's been created to help support and bring awareness to some of the damage that's been done to these families that still exist today. So what I'm going to do is every vote we get, whether yay or nay, for every vote we get, I'm going to donate $1 to this fund at the end. So go in there and vote yes or no if you think I can flip this cake. It will support a good charity, and hopefully hopefully you will see me catching a cake by the time we're all done with this. I don't know. But let me bring Ella back here. There you are. There you are. Okay. Ella, what do you think? Do you think I can flip a cake?
Even if you don't and it goes on your face, that would be great.
You're ambivalent. You think it's good either way. If I catch it, it's great. If I don't catch it, it's great.
Support it.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm going to put the cake away for a moment just so I don't accidentally eat it, and then we won't have one to flip. But Ella, thank you so much for coming by. You are in Australia. I'm in Canada. Our time zones are very different. What time is it right there, if you don't mind me asking? Right now, I'll tell you, it's 8:44 p.m. here. What time is it there?
It's 9:44 a.m.
Okay, so we're on opposite sides of the time zones for sure. Wow.
Yep.
Well, for anyone who doesn't know, Ella is she's a contributor on Men vs. Meeple. She's also a co-host on Variable Player Power, and you have your own YouTube channel, Ella Loves Board Games. And I was kind of curious, Ella, what is it that kind of motivated you to get started? Like, what made you want to do this?
It was just a passion for it and encouragement from friends. I remember because I went from like 0 to 300 games, and then my friends were like, "You're crazy." Yeah.
I think that's a common story for people. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of us. We're all the same creature. But yeah, so and then they encouraged me to go, like my friends encouraged me to go on Instagram, and then that wasn't enough. Like I felt I needed to do more. And so I went to conventions, and then I found out about content creators who make like YouTube videos.
Right.
The first that was it was Rado and you that I watched. I'm like, oh, I can do that.
Right,
I
right.
have a background in communication.
Yes.
I think I can do it. And I felt like I had I guess a unique voice. Not a lot of women do content, so I'm like, oh, I could give something to the table that's not there.
Right.
And yeah,
And so have you?
and now I'm here with you.
That's right.
It's awesome.
So what sort of keeps you wanting to do it? Because like I said, you've now, like, along with your Instagram and your own YouTube channel, you've been expanding, and now you're doing a podcast as well. Is there something that sort of continued to inspire you? I'm assuming at a certain point, like I know for myself, certainly I love the board games, but I don't have to make videos about them necessarily. I could just play them. But for me, there was something else that was kind of pulling me. Do you feel like there's still something that kind of drives you to keep doing it and wanting to keep doing it?
Yeah, I do get burnout, and then I always go back because I talk to my friends like Danny and Theo,
Yes.
and we're really here to grow the community, and we want to have people who look like us be seen on YouTube because it seems like it does. I don't want to like like pat myself on the back, but people have said that it makes a difference seeing somebody who looks like you doing these things. So that's what drives me really, but like above everything else, because I could just be playing games right now.
Well, I think that's really valuable, though. What you hit on there is that the motivation to keep doing it has to come generally from something else. If you're just doing it for, I don't know, free games or because board games are fun, that burnout could just cause you to not want to do it anymore. But if you have something that's sort of deep inside of you, like you were saying, like, I want people to be able to watch the videos I'm making and see themselves in me. And, if you don't feel like you're represented in the community the same way, then that's like a powerful motivation that will make you go, you know what, I'm not necessarily feeling like it today, but somebody else might benefit or want to see this. Again, not to make ourselves heroes, but it's not about that. It's about finding a thing inside of yourself, right, to connect with. I know for me, like a lot of my motivation is that I've seen a number of people pick up a board game and they open the rule book and they just get frustrated and they feel like board games are too complicated and it's like, who wants to do all this work? And I just thought, well, maybe I can help lower the barrier to entry. And sometimes when I get those responses or the comments of like, oh, this was really helpful, I couldn't figure out this game, but now I watched the video and it was helpful, that's motivating, right? That's the thing that will get me down here wanting to do this. I don't know that it necessarily explains why I want to flip a cake, but other elements
because
of it,
your community wants you to flip a cake.
I guess so.
And you know what the community wants.
Well, that is true too, and I mean that's a big part of it, right? Is there's we're part of the board game community, and there's a lot of fun and energy that can come from that too, right?
Absolutely.
As the Dice Tower, infamously says, it's not just about the games; it's the people who play them, right? And that's something that I think motivates a lot of us. But well, cool. It was interesting to hear, and maybe you could let people know. We'll mention again at the end if people do want to find you, Ella, outside of this video. Where else can they find you?
So they can find me on Instagram at Ella Loves Board Games, Facebook Ella Loves, same thing, at Ella Loves Board Games,
Right.
Ella Loves BG on Twitter, And YouTube is the same thing. I actually am not a contributor anymore to Man versus Meeple.
Okay.
I just want to
Oh,
correct
thank you.
that.
Thanks for letting me know.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
it,
but yeah, so it's me, and there's going to be some news after, but I can't say
ooh,
yet.
exciting.
Yes.
Okay, we won't
Yeah.
spoil anything here. We'll wait for your good news. But we do have some other questions. Let me just make sure I'm on track here with the questions. Right, I do have a question here. This is one that came in from Brandon Gilmore, who asked, "Do you think digital board games and tabletop simulators will take off this year with virtual gaming cons and quarantine?" So because of COVID-19 and the fact that we're not able to travel as easily, do we think that digital board games, and again, like tabletop simulator and that sort of stuff, is that going to take off, become more popular? I mean, it seems like it can't help but make it more popular. What have you seen that way?
I think it already has,
Yeah,
because I remember just a few months ago, you couldn't get on Board Game Arena, or it was
you're
crashing all the
right.
time
Yes,
because
yes.
everybody was on it. And even in my work, because I work for a distributor, so a big distributor
Right.
here, we had a 400% increase in sales.
Wow.
That's like, yeah, better than any Christmas we've ever had. And that trickles over to, yeah, to tabletop simulator, to all the digital, yeah, apps. It's just, it's booming so much that we can't keep up.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
that's the other part of the passion, right? Is that we want to play the games, and it's not as easy right
Yeah.
now. So people will, where there's a will, there's a way, right? People will find other
Yes.
ways, and some of these digital formats. I think some people in the past were like, I want to play my physical copies. I think some of those people are being won over, not necessarily because they
Yeah.
prefer the digital to the physical, but if they can't, then this is a fine alternative. And Board Game Arena, you can get on it now, but it's not because there's fewer people. It's because they had to increase the capacity of their servers, right?
Absolutely.
So
It's safe for everything, even the obscure websites. Like I remember like the Euros I went to, I forgot the name,
yeah,
but yeah, everybody was on it.
yeah,
There were only five, now there's like 100,
yeah,
something like
exactly.
that.
It's really exploded. And I'd forgotten about the fact that you were working with a distributor too. So you have like some nice hard data there, right? That just sort of
Yes,
shows that this is
400%.
yeah, wild.
Games and puzzles. A lot of people are into puzzles too. It's sold out.
I've
Yeah.
been seeing that. Do you do puzzles at all? Does that interest you?
I do, but then there's only so much time in the
It's
day.
true. It's true. We have enough
Yes.
obsessions, don't we? I have actually. Speaking of obsessions, I have another question I have here is from Jesse Roadheaver, who wanted to know: do you actually buy games? So I believe what Jesse's getting at there really is, we, as you mentioned, we're content creators. We make videos about board games. Sometimes that means that publishers will send us games for featuring on our channels. So the question is, do we still buy board games? I think is what Jesse's getting at there. What about you? Do you still buy board games?
I do actually, because it when you receive a review copy, the pressure, not that it's a pressure, the pressure that comes with that is creating content.
Sure.
And
Yep.
sometimes I just want to play games and
Right.
I don't want to have that yeah, pressure. So I do still buy a lot of board games, especially like older ones because I was late into the hobby. So I came in like 2, 3 years ago. So I'm still buying like the older ones like Bruges and Dogs of War. So there are a lot of games that I'm
Ooh,
hunting so that I get them.
Dogs of
Yeah.
War. I have that over my shelf. That is a fantastic game.
It's the best. It's so
It's
good.
really good,
Yeah.
and it's one that when it came out, I don't think it made the big splash that a lot of Cool Mini or Not games. I call it Cool Mini or Not because that's what they were called back then. But
Yes.
Come On games. It sort of came out to not a lot of fanfare, but then I played. I was like, "This is really good." I think it just didn't look
It's
like,
really
yeah,
good.
it didn't look like the kind of game that they usually put out. I think at the time, and that's maybe why.
And it wasn't it one of their first Kickstarters, so maybe they were just trying to
I think
get,
it was. I think it was maybe their second or third. It was like after the zombie side, I think, and a couple of those big ones,
yeah.
which were people were just used to seeing like tons of armies and miniatures, and so this was a Euro game. It just felt different, I think,
Yeah.
for a lot of people.
It had great minis though,
It
so I
sure
don't
did.
know.
It sure did.
Yeah.
I know for myself, I still buy a lot of games. I just bought the latest expansion. Well, not the latest expansion for Mansions of Madness, but the one where it's like on trains and moving vehicles and stuff. Because I didn't have that one yet. And no, I buy games quite frequently because I primarily do tutorial videos, right? So I don't get tons of games. I get games that I'm going to be working on. So there's still lots of other things outside of the games I'm able to work on that I'm curious about, and I buy those to play too. Actually, there is. I will say though, I got this. There's a game over here. Speaking of kind of fun little perks, because there are some fun perks to be sure. I got this beast of of a game.
Whoa.
I don't know if you've seen
The
this
table
one.
actually shook.
This one here, Monumental. This one's actually currently on Kickstarter right now. I think it's only a. You can't even barely see me over the actual.
I know.
It's this one's currently on Kickstarter. I think right now from FunForge because I think it's like a Kickstarter only, and I can kind of appreciate that. It's just like tons of. Speaking of miniatures, this was like almost like your classic kind of cool miniature knot type of deal because like
Oh, whoa.
like it's it's a ton of miniatures.
Are you painting all of that?
No, there's no chance. There's no chance. I do paint occasionally, but like very in small spurts. I get really motivated to paint something by Games Workshop, and I'll do it for like a couple of days, and then I won't for a long while. Do you paint miniatures?
My son does, and I help him a little bit. I
Okay.
do want to because I got those miniatures for Gloomhaven,
Yes, yes.
the Jaws of the Lion, and I
Right.
think I can do four. I think that's manageable.
It's funny you say that because I thought the same thing with Jaws of the Line. I thought this is such a great kind of starter for someone because okay, you're going to sit here, you're going to play a campaign, so you're going to be with these miniatures for a while. There's just four. You really just have to paint the one you're going to play with necessarily, right? So
Yes,
let me see.
paint the two. I do solo.
That's
So
right. That's true. If you're doing solo, exactly for two. Um, let's go to some viewer questions. You get some time to stay with me here for some viewer questions? I hope so, because
yeah,
you want to stick around for the cake flip, right?
okay. Plus, it's the morning. I'm actually really awake, so you're the one who's. I don't know what's gonna happen with you, Rodney.
I know. I know. Okay, let's answer a couple questions, and then you and I have a little game we can play with the audience that we talked about doing, so that'll be fun. Okay, so Cora Lou would like to know, what's your favorite way to celebrate Canada Day? I'm going to be very curious to hear your answer to this one, Ella. Uh, what will you do this year? So Canada Day is in July. What's my favorite way to celebrate? Well, like a lot of people, I enjoy fireworks. So usually some fireworks is fun, either to go to them or because we live in kind of a more rural area, sometimes neighbors will have some fireworks. We'll go to friends' houses and fire some off that way. But mainly just taking a break. I don't have like any kind of crazy awesome tradition. I don't normally, for example, buy a Happy Canada Day cake. So, is there an Australia Day, Ella, that we need to know about?
Yeah, there is. Fairly the same thing. Like we have
Yes.
fireworks. We do a lot of drinking in Australia.
Right.
We like our beers.
Sure.
So yeah, a lot of drinking. But with my family, we usually go like because there's tons of stuff in the city that happens. So lots of little events. We go together and then just celebrate going to museums and seeing all the history and things like that.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love that idea of going to a museum. What a perfect thing to do on your national holiday. That is good. I like that. I like going to museums. I don't get to museums very often, but I'm one of those people like I like to slowly walk through, read all the plaques, and kind of and just take it all in.
Same.
Yeah, yeah, that's very cool. All right, we got another question. I think this one might also be from Coralou, asking, "What is your favorite dessert?" Seems appropriate. My favorite dessert isn't cake. Do you have a favorite dessert, Ella?
Yeah, I don't know if it's dessert, but boba tea. Boba tea. That's dessert, right? It's sweet, so
Sure.
that's my favorite. Yeah, I've been having it 3 times a week. It's not good. 10 pounds already.
Well, clearly that is your favorite dessert, though. You sort of proved it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. What's my favorite dessert? Look, my mother's apple pie. That's absolutely my
Oh,
favorite
that's a
dessert.
good
Yeah,
answer.
it is.
Good answer.
I mean, it's the best.
That's such a funny answer too.
Well, it is. I mean, and like lots of mothers make apple pie, but no one makes it. Look, my mother and my mother-in-law both make fantastic apple pie, and I'm not just saying that to appease my mother-in-law. It's true. All right. Fudgeon asks, are you looking forward to the Atlantic province's travel bubble to escape PEI? So the question there, right, around COVID, they're relaxing some of the rules, right, to leave Prince Edward Island,
Oh.
right? So I'm sure there's probably similar things where you are too, Ella. What's the COVID situation in Australia right now?
So we relaxed a bit, but then it's back because there was a spike.
Yes.
So yeah, we still can go to each other's houses. It's not as bad actually, because I just saw the stats in the
Yeah.
US. It's not as bad. It's not as bad. So we're pretty good
I,
over here.
the question was asking, am I looking forward to the bubble relaxing? I mean, not really. What I'm looking forward to is a vaccine. That's what I'd like to see. Give us a vaccine, and then come talk to me about how much I want to be traveling at that point.
Yeah.
But Prince Edward Island, where I live, they're keeping a pretty close eye on things. Thankfully, right now there's no cases. They've relaxed some things. But hopefully they'll keep testing and keeping an eye on it in case things spike again. So, well, Shorty Dancer has an interesting question here. Elle, I don't know if I've ever been asked this before, so I always like these kind of unique questions. How do you define when a game feels dated, like older? Like kind of out of. Sometimes you play a game and it feels very fresh and new, and sometimes you play when you go, oh, this feels like an old Euro.
Oh goodness, that's a tough question.
I'll say a couple of things that I think are maybe kind of the obvious answers, but I know this isn't going to cover all of it. But sometimes I'm playing a game, it might even be a very new one, and it might have something like player elimination. And I'll feel like, oh, this feels a little dated, because a lot of games try to avoid that these days, especially if it's a long game. Or if it's a long playing game, but there's tons of randomness in it, that will often feel dated to me, because I feel like modern board games are about giving the players choices and agency and more control. Now, that's not always the case. Amari Akil had a very interesting blog post, I think it was on Medium, talking about randomness in games and having a very different perspective on that personally.
Right.
I need to find the link to that and share it, because I saw Cole Worley talking about that, and I thought it was like a really fascinating article.
It was really good.
Yeah, really
Yeah.
good. Talking about how randomness, from your perspective, where your lived experience in life, things being random and not being in control of all of your choices might actually be more reflective of what your life is like. And so when you encounter it in a game, it doesn't feel like the game's cheating. It feels like, no, this is what a person would expect.
And you have a higher tolerance for it.
Yes, you have a higher tolerance for it than maybe someone who feels like, well, no, I don't. I want everything just to be fair for me, when not everyone feels that way. So I thought that was kind of an interesting article. But artwork will sometimes do it. I'll see something and it feels like the artwork is dated, in the sense that right now it feels like every game has to look, like this. It has to have beautiful
Absolutely.
Artwork. And that's one. Hey, can you think of anything that makes a game feel dated?
The way it's written also, like, because the rule books are so good now,
That's a
there's
good point.
like, if I read the old, like, even if I read a really old war game,
Yeah.
even the war games are written better. So like, Twilight Struggle is an old game, right?
Yeah.
I imagine that if they wrote it now, they would have written it a bit differently.
I would
feel.
hope so, but I don't know, Ella. Those GMT war games, they are sticking to their old format of 3.2.5 Section A. But
No, but I've seen the more modern ones. They're getting better.
They are.
That's more like, it's different now. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a good one. That's a great question, Shorty Dancer. It's the sort of thing I think a person could dedicate like a full conversation to. You go away, kind of think about that. How do we classify games that feel dated? I think a lot of it comes in the mechanisms, but good question. Dave Zokvik asks, when you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh my goodness.
Phew. It's funny. I don't know if I've ever been asked that question, but it feels like one of those questions that you get asked a lot. So interesting one, Dave. When I was younger, I wanted to be a firefighter. Like when I was really young, I wanted to be a basketball player, a professional basketball player. Then I wanted to be in an a cappella group. Thank goodness.
Which one?
No, I just wanted to be in one. Anyone who'd take me. Oh, I love Boys to Men. Thank goodness I never pursued that. I would have been terrible. Do you have any memory of what you wanted to be when you were younger?
Oh yeah, an actress
really?
in a Broadway musical. So very specific.
Very specific.
But I didn't have the voice for it. So it's sad.
Yeah, it's funny.
I wish I.
It's funny you mentioned that. I remember when I was in junior high school, I had that kind of fantasy. Not that's the same one, because I wasn't so specific as Broadway, but I remember thinking.
Fantasy, Rodney.
Yes.
Yeah, my fantasy.
I want to be on Broadway. I just thought, like, maybe I could go to Vancouver, which is a big area for film production in Canada, and I could just volunteer and work on sets, like, for almost no pay. I'd find a way and, just impress people with my stick-to-itiveness and maybe be able to work my way up, because I always liked working in video, but from an amateur perspective. And I couldn't figure how would I ever go into that for a living, because I never believed it was a sensible career path. Because I grew up with
Right.
I grew up with this mentality of I have to go get a practical job that will earn practical money, and then maybe if I make enough money, I can kind of do what I want at that point. But then I realized, no, your job is your life. that becomes everything.
For
So
your career,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So
Well, I'm Asian, so I can relate. Like my parents were like, "You're gonna be an engineer or a
right,
doctor." So I never really entertained arts. But now, sort of, we're like in the
we
arts.
are.
We
I guess
are.
so.
Then, so it happened, Rodney.
I
I'm
guess.
just not singing, but it's happening.
And I didn't
Yeah.
have to go to Vancouver. Yeah, and you're not on a stage yet, but who knows? It could still
Yeah,
happen.
who knows? Yeah. We're still young, Rodney.
Okay, so we got a question here from Games of Fire, who says, "Hi, Rodney. I'm going to live stream for the first time tomorrow afternoon. Any advice?" Well, Ella, have you ever done any live streaming yourself that you've run as opposed to being like a part of?
No, because I don't want to be sweating because I'm so anxious. Just watching you earlier, I was anxious. But I have been I've streamed some of my games, but there's
Yeah.
always something that goes wrong, and that doesn't. Oh,
Yeah,
just thinking about it is making me
it's
sweat.
true. Ella did get to see me in raw form there because oftentimes when I come into the live show, I'm like, okay, everybody, look, it's I sometimes can be a little flustered, but I was like running around here in a panic, and you got to see that. I apologize for that. My biggest piece of advice, if you're going to live stream tomorrow afternoon, is test, 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 test everything. Even here, Ella and I were tested last night for yesterday morning, and still, like you saw when Ella joined in, the box was wrong sized, and there was some weird stuff that happened there. Things are going to go wrong. You got to kind of just roll with it, but you should test and try to eliminate as many things as possible. And the other thing is know that things are going to go wrong anyway, and again, just kind of roll with it. I think that's the best thing, and I think people genuinely look. The audience is watching; they can confirm or deny this. Authenticity is a big deal. So, like, if something's going
Yeah.
wrong, just own it, fall on your sword a little bit, and recover, and try again next time. And also, give yourself a lot of time beforehand. If you're planning to go live stream in like tomorrow at 3 p.m., don't start getting set up at 2:30. You will not enjoy that experience. I wouldn't. All right. So here's a question from Kevin who asks, who have you been doing most of your playing with these days? So Ella, what about you? Who are you playing games with these days?
I actually have a regular game night on Thursday. We do it like digitally. We're playing King's Dilemma. So I'm playing King's Dilemma with a lot of friends. So I still play with friends. My husband is not a big gamer, but I force him. So
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I do encourage my family to play with me as well. I mean, they are the closest ones here to me, and they're often good sports. I don't have to do too much, begging and pleading. Sometimes I will if it's a game that I don't know if it's one they'd like, but I sort of just desperately
yeah,
need to get it played. you know. But
I totally
yeah,
understand.
so for me, it is my family. That's exclusively I play with my family, and occasionally, sometimes a game online. Mr. Tricksta asks, "What's Ella's favorite Australia-themed game?" Do you have a favorite Australia-themed game?
I do, and it's named Australia.
Oh
So it's a
yes.
game by Martin Wallace. So it's really good. So it's really weird mix because you're battling Cthulhu, but you're like in a like farmland. So
Yeah.
it's a mix of real and unreal. So and it has like his multi-use cards, and that's always
I have it over there on the shelf. I haven't played it yet. I have a list of my games that are unplayed, and I've got it down to about 15, so it's pretty good, right? But I'm having trouble getting to those last 15. So that's one you think I should give a shot soon?
yeah. I think you like Martin
I
Wallace,
do.
right?
I like Martin Wallace a lot.
You would love it.
Okay.
It's a very Martin Wallace game. It's very quirky. It's different. It's not anything that you've seen before, so I think you'd like it.
Okay, well, actually, this is a great segue. Speaking of Australia, speaking of games, we've got a little game that we can play right here with the audience. Everyone who's watching at home, please feel free to play along. What I thought would be fun is for you and I to both come up with a little list of sayings from our countries, and like for example, I'll read out one of mine and see if you can figure out
Hmm.
what it means. And everyone who's watching, you try to figure it as well. Feel free to put it in the comments your guesses as to what you think the expression stands for or means. And when I read mine, Ella, I'll give you a shot to try to figure out what it is, and then Ella, you can read out one of the Australian sayings, and I'll see if I can figure out what it is. I don't
Okay.
expect to get any of them right because even looking at like some of these Canadian ones, I'm like, how would anyone know what any of this means? But we'll see. We'll see. Shall
I wonder how
what's that?
weird they are compared. I wonder how far, like, are they similar to ours? I
Right.
don't know. We have the same queen, Rodney, remember?
That's true. Good point. Well,
Yes.
why don't you go first? You're the guest. Why don't you hit me with one of your phrases?
How about this? I'll give you an easy one. Mates rate.
Did you say mates rate?
Mates rate.
Oh, like RATE? Okay,
Yes.
so I would,
And then
yeah,
mates rate.
got it, got it. My assumption, like mate, like a friend, so a mate's rate would be like, hey, I'm going to give you a deal. Like as a buddy, here's the rate for you. Yeah?
Yes.
Oh, sweet. Well, thank you. That's so nice.
Good job.
I feel really bad now because I did not pick any easy ones for you. Well, maybe
It's
not.
okay.
Maybe not. This one might be
Wait
okay.
until you see my other ones.
Okay, you still got time to get me back. How about this one? I don't know how common this one is. Maybe in the U.S. this is a common one, but fill your boots. Does that one mean anything? If I said, go ahead and fill your boots.
Failure. I would think like work hard or do
Oh,
your
that's a
best.
good
Fill your
guess.
boots. Yeah.
No, so fill your boots. I almost want to give a second for people in the comments to see if anyone's got it. I'm sure some of the Canadians will have gotten it, but fill your boots is sort of like, go ahead and help yourself. Go ahead and take what you want.
Mm.
Like, hey, is anyone else going to finish this cake? You gotta go ahead and fill your boots. I don't. I'd love to know the origin of that story. Like why filling your boots means help yourself
I
to cake.
know. Why fill your
Fill your
boots?
boots.
People drank from their boot, I guess.
I would think like fill your
Someone
boots mean put your boots on and get going. If anything, fill your boots. Like get out of here.
you put your feet
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
All right, what do you got for me?
Okay, this one is it's gone walkabout.
Gone walkabout. Okay, gone
It's gone.
walkabout. Okay, gone walkabout. Well,
It's gone walkabout.
so would it be like it's gone walkabout?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So then that was a little bit of a hint, I think. So would that be like if
Yes.
you lose something?
You're so good.
Oh, excellent! Because it's gone for a walk. It's if you hadn't said it's, I might have that you helped me again. You're very kind. You're a good guest. I'm gonna have you back on. So yeah, so it's gone for a walkabout. It's sort of left and taken off somewhere. You've lost something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't
Okay.
do that.
All right. I've got one here for you. This one might actually be not too bad. Here, I'll put this in a phrase. So you might ask this question. Do we have any cereal left? I'm gonna have it for bed lunch.
Oh my God. Bed
Yeah,
lunch.
bed lunch.
Can you gonna
Yeah.
have
So
bed lunch?
if we have any cereal left, I'm looking for some bed lunch.
Bed lunch. Are you eating in bed? Is that
Yeah, that's
it? No?
basically. So it's the snack you might have before bedtime.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
it's
That's close.
maybe a kid going to bed at night. You might like, okay, have a little something for bed lunch, a little snack.
Okay.
All right. So what do you got for me?
Okay. To right.
Too right? Like TOO? Too right. I mean,
I'm not giving you clues
yeah, I know
anymore
that's
because you're too
right.
good.
Very smart, very clever. Okay, too right. Well, I guess like is that like sort of affirming like, oh, that's too right, like that's so right, like absolutely correct. Is that the idea?
Yes, that's it.
Okay,
Yeah,
too right.
definitely. Yeah.
Let me see if I have anything like that on here. Well, here's one. I don't know if this one is more common. I'm not surprised it isn't. But if I said, why don't you come on around for a twofer? A twofer.
A two for so it's a two for one. So a two for one. So do something and do something else.
Oh, that's great.
Is
That's
that
it.
it?
No, it's not. It's
Yeah.
not it. But I like the way you're thinking.
2 years? No?
So a twofer is short for 2-4, and 24
Oh,
beer in a case. So it's like come on over for some beer, a twofer.
some
Because I
beer.
got a case
Cool.
of 24 beer basically. So that's it. Coming for a twofer.
Two for. I'll remember this when I go to
That's
Canada.
right. Just ask for a
Yeah.
twofer. If you ask for a twofer, they'd be like, "Oh, so you're gonna have quite a party tonight then." Yeah.
This one might be a bit harder for you.
Okay.
How about fair dinkum?
Fair dinkum. That is trickier. Nothing like immediately.
It's actually used a lot.
Is it
Some of this are like, we don't use this. But this one is like,
fair
you
dinkum?
could see it on the news. Fair dinkum, mate.
Fair dinkum, mate. So
Just want a fair dinkum.
okay, so I hear fair. I mean, dinkum means nothing to me, but fair I think is like good or honest. So like, would that be like an honest person?
It means like yes, true, real, genuine. Yes, you're pretty good with context clues, Rodney.
So
I would think that you. Yeah.
can you give me an example where you might use that, like a the thing that would happen that you would then say fair dinkum to?
Yeah, so we are talking like, oh, I've been tired all week because I've been doing this. Ah, fair dinkum. So like, yeah, right,
Ah, okay,
for real.
kind of
So
affirming.
like,
Right,
yeah,
right. Oh, I like that.
yeah.
I like that
If
one.
I be using that wrong, they'll kill me. All the Australians will be like, no, get
No, that's a
boo
good one. I
Australia.
like that one.
Yeah.
Okay, I got two more. I'll give you.
Mm.
This one, this is a combination of two things. So someone might say, "Hey, you going to Timmy's?" So Timmy's is the first one. Get me a double double.
Double double.
Yeah.
You're going to double shot of something,
Yeah.
like a double shot of a drink.
It is.
Yes.
So it is a drink. It's something that would go in a drink. So
Double
you
double.
were drinking something earlier. You have a cup there with you, right? It's got, I think, tea
Yes.
in it. You said to me off screen.
Yes.
But later you're gonna have some
Yes.
coffee, right?
Yes.
So what might you put?
Double shot of coffee.
So
Double double.
it's a double sugar, double cream.
Oh my goodness.
So
Yes, that would be a Canadian thing. That's so sweet.
it's super common. Like you and Timmy's is short for Tim Hortons, which is a popular coffee chain here. So if you were rolling up to the window, you'd say, "Can I get a coffee double? Make it a double double." Or if you just said,
Okay.
"Can I have a double double?" They would know you mean a coffee, and then two,
Two
two sugar, two cream.
sugar,
Yeah,
two cream.
yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I'll give you this one. This is this will be hard. I hope.
Okay.
You're too good. Bull's dust.
What was it?
Bull's dust.
Bull's dust.
Bull? Yeah. Or bull dust.
Bull dust.
Sorry.
Bull
Bull
dust.
dust.
Okay, bull dust. Oh, this one's not easy.
No.
Bull dust. It's not like
Bull
it's not
dust.
like a fart, is it? I'm just thinking about like a bull. I don't know why I thought of that. I just swung for it. What is it?
It's rubbish.
Oh,
Rubbish.
okay, okay.
Yeah, that's bull dust.
Bull
Rubbish.
dust. Interesting. All right, I guess I should have the last one because you started this one off. I got two to pick from here. What will I pick? Okay, if I said talk of dirt coming, there's
My
there's
goodness.
talk.
What? Can you say that?
Yeah, there's talk of dirt coming. Do you have any idea?
There's something bad happening?
Yeah, it's a weather related thing. So if you say talk of dirt coming means
Your name.
it's not like rain or snow or sunshine. It's like something bad, like real bad weather.
Yeah, really bad weather
Like bad
happening. I
enough
was
that the dirt's flying up, you know. You know.
like the farts.
Yeah, like the
Yeah.
farts. There you go. Yes, exactly. Fill your boots and get out of here. All right. So, well, I'll be curious to go through the comments afterwards and see if anyone listening was able to figure out some of these as well. So that was thanks for coming out, being game for that, Ella, because I figured I'd learn a few things along the way there. Oh, guess what? It's time. It's time to see if Rodney can flip a cake. Yes. Okay. First of all, let me go over to. Everyone, just hang on for one quick second. I'm going to go over to the community tab just to see how the vote ended up. And I'm going to show you as well once I have it together and on screen. Oh yeah, I actually saved myself a bookmark for it, so that will make it easier. All right, so let me bring that over. Okay, everyone, let's see what we've got here. First of all, we got 145 votes. Thank you, everyone, for voting. That is going to be $145 going to our charity tonight. So thank you, everybody, for voting. And amazingly, it is a 56% vote that says if he can flip a box, he can flip a cake, and 44%, who I think are actually probably more accurate, are saying, nope, that cake is going to end up on the floor, no question. So I guess it's time for us to find out which is true. So Ella, you're not going to be on screen during the cake flip, but I'm going to make sure the camera is turned around so you can. Yeah, you want to watch, I know. So I'm going to turn. Sorry, everybody, you have to get a look at my stomach for a moment while I get Ella set up here, and then I'm going to head over to the the cake area. Okay. Oh boy. So flipping a cake. So flipping a box is definitely a different kind of animal, right? Because normally I pick the box up off the shelf, I twirl it on the side, and I catch it. I haven't given any actual thought to how this is going to work because I obviously can't toss it on its side. It's going to have to be kind of an end for end type of flip, Ella. So it's going to be like a toss. I want it to flip over just once and then catch it. All right, let's see. Here we go, everybody. I'm going to flip a cake. Oh, I almost had it. I almost had it. I think I almost had it, but it just went one rotation too many. I was too ambitious, and it's really, wow, it's really, oh no. You know what I didn't anticipate? Good. Okay, I got to do a live show now, and I got cake all over my hands. Maybe, Andrea, if you're listening, you can come to my rescue. Everyone, hold on. I got some Kleenexes over here. I didn't think about this part of it. I'll be right back. So the 44% of you were right, but I really appreciate the other 56% of you who thought I had a shot at it. Oh, it was so close. Thought it was close. Kleenex is not really kind of the tool for this job, but I'm going to try. Oh, my goodness. Oh, no. Oh, there was a moment when that was in the air that I was so certain, so absolutely certain that I had it.
So good.
But I just lost it at the last minute, Ella. I think I've got most of it off of me, actually. I can hear Andrea scrambling right now. She's on a 20-second delay. So she is running to try to get me some kind of...
I wanted to eat that.
Andrea's very disappointed. I don't know if you just heard, but she's like, I wanted to eat that, and it's...
I actually licked some of the icing before I gave it to
Did
you.
you?
I knew you were going to ruin it, so...
I almost had it. Could you see? I don't know what it looked like on camera, but it
yeah.
was...
You
I had it.
caught it, and then
And then it went. Yeah. Unbelievable. I got to work on the cake flipping. Oh, and sorry, Ellie, I got to turn your camera around so you can see. I am back at the desk, and you're on screen with me here again. Oh my goodness. Well, okay. I am. I think I'm fit to go on, so that's good. There might be a little chocolate on me still. All right, so I'll practice on that. But there you go, Amanda Panda. All right, I tried really hard to flip a cake for you. I just couldn't quite make it happen. All right. What'd you think, Ella? Did I do okay?
Yeah, you did great. You almost did
I
it.
did almost do it. Okay, it felt like I had, but then that feeling, it disappeared. I don't know. I'll have to look at my face on replay afterwards because I think there was a moment where I was like, I've got it. I didn't have it. Oh dear. All right. Well, look, I think we got time for a few more questions. Do you mind hanging around for a couple more questions?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right. Let's see here. We got a question.
Part of your show now. I'm never leaving.
Oh, I can't get rid of you now. How do I hang up this thing? I can't make it. I don't know. It's not working. Okay. So Paul Saxberg of Roxy Games asks, is there a game you've played that made you have a strong emotional reaction, positive or negative? I'm assuming the question isn't like, in other words, did you really like the game or really dislike the game? Because that's kind of a common board game reaction.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I mean, the games that have given me some of the strongest reactions have been games like Twilight Struggle and Watergate and Brass. But those, and Brass, funny enough, is a game that Roxy Games published.
Right.
But the emotion I get there is that there's a certain peak level of tension that I'll reach in certain games, where there are too many plates spinning in the air. I can't quite manage all of them, but I feel like I'm this close. So it's not a frustration that comes from this game is too obtuse and I can't figure it out. It's just beyond my grasp, and I love that feeling. You know, where I can't quite see everything, and I don't know what the right decision is, and I'm just like my brain's sweating trying to figure it all out. That's a very good, strong kind of positive and oddly kind of it's not negative, but it feels it kind of because it's like what do I do? You know. What about you? Have you had like strong kind of visceral emotional reactions to games?
Yeah, I just remember my first time when I played Through the Ages.
Yes.
That was one of the first like heavy Euros I ever played, and it blew my mind because I'm like, oh, there are games like this, like amazing. So I've never experienced any game like that because I was like Monopoly and
Yeah,
Cluedo,
right,
and
right.
and then there was like Through the Ages. One of my first few games. I played that so much, and that was like, yeah, that was like just that's a different experience for me that it stuck in my head.
That's like kind of
I can never get that,
yeah,
yeah, experience also.
that beautiful feeling of discovery of, oh wow, this is what board games can be like. And every now and then
Yeah.
I'll still get that feeling from certain games, you know. I remember one of the earliest experiences of it for me was Magic the Gathering. The first time I ever played that was when it first came out. I'd never played, no one had ever played anything like that back when it first came out, you know.
Right.
And I loved collecting cards for other things that they didn't have a game element to them, but this had a game element on top of that. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
even something like,
I can imagine.
yeah, it was a really
Yeah.
cool experience. Even something like Keyforge, for example. When I first played that, I was like, oh wow, this is a really cool system. Like that kind of blew the top off my brain too. Let's go for another couple of questions here. Coralu, good try, Rodney. Well, thank you, Coralu. Question, next April Fool's, can you give us a tutorial video for cake flipping? Well, I don't know. Maybe this should be a one and done thing. Maybe I should just never do it again. I think Andrew will be too angry with me if I keep destroying cakes around the house. But she wants to
Has to
eat.
be a layered cake.
Yes.
2 layers, Rodney.
Oh dear. Yeah, this past year for April Fools, I did Monopoly, a tutorial for Monopoly, but really it wasn't an April Fool's joke. It was a legitimate tutorial for Monopoly. I thought, hey, I'd like to make one. Maybe I should release it on April Fool's because that way, people have an explanation for why I'm doing it. But I just genuinely wanted to do a tutorial for Monopoly. It's one of those games that I think we keep talking about in our hobby because it's the game a lot of us say, no, not like Monopoly, when people ask us about the games that we're into. But a lot of people do play that game, and a lot of them don't know how to play it correctly because, honestly, the rules are not very well written. It's not just that there's house rules, it's that the rule book is kind of fuzzy. So I hope that would be helpful in that way. So Liz O'Chap asks, is there a game you enjoy but cannot play with your spouse or partner? Ella, what about you? Is there a game that you like to play?
Well, yeah, most of the heavier games, cause my not that my husband can't take it, but like he's a chess player,
Right.
so he actually beats me a lot.
Right.
But his tolerance for length of games is pretty low. Like we play midweight Euros,
Right.
and anything abstract, but anything longer, maybe in 3 hours, he's not a hobbyist, so it's like 3 hours, I could be exercising
Yes,
or
right.
something.
No, I get that. I mean, some games are like this big investment of time, and if you don't know if you're going to have fun in the first place, it
Yes.
can be difficult to commit to it in advance, right? That makes sense. I'm trying to think of games like I would say my wife doesn't. She's not drawn to the adventure style games that are about combat and killing and fighting and that sort of thing. But she's enjoyed Mansions of Madness in the past and games like that. So it's sort of like a particular thing. Her favorite though is Euro games that have a theme that she enjoys. So a theme that she likes, like a viticulture, right? But wine making, and she likes that. What else we play? We played Caverna. She enjoyed that. Yeah, I think theme does a lot for her, and she prefers Euro style
Yeah.
mechanics. Let's see. Raining Tacos asks, Rodney, has there been a game that was too difficult to do a how to play video for? Well, now you don't do how to play videos, Ella, but did you ever get a situation, you don't have to name names necessarily, but did you ever have a game that you wanted to do a review for, and then once you got it, you were like, either, maybe it wasn't because it was too complicated, but it was just like it kind of lost your interest once you had it in front of you.
Yeah, or sometimes like you want to do it, but it won't be. I feel like it won't be interesting just because
Yeah.
of the way the game is. Yeah, because it'll be like a lot of dead air, or like if I go do a playthrough,
Yeah.
there'll be a lot of dead air, a lot of thinking. So I'm like, this is a great game, but it's not for this medium.
That is a
Yeah.
great observation that I think sometimes media creators can forget that when you're showing, especially when you're showing a playthrough, I think you should consider how visually interesting is this, because some games a lot of the action happens in here, and that's really
Yes.
difficult to get across on screen. I don't think those games should be played on video, not really, unless the people who are hosting are doing a lot of talking to help kind of fill in that gap, of sort of the downtime. I don't know if there's any games that have been too complicated. I don't mind a challenge. I mean, I look at Combat Commander over there and I think, oh, I'd love to do a tutorial for that game. I've said that before on here just because I'd like to know I could watch a video to help me remember how to play it. But it'd be so involved. I mean, I would have to take like 2 or 3 months off, I think, to figure out how to do that.
Oh my goodness.
You know, it'd be,
Oh my
it'd be
goodness.
too much of a challenge. I'd love to do Twilight Struggle, though. That's the war game that I'd probably be most interested in trying to do a video for.
Do it, Rodney. Do
I'd like to.
it.
I'd like to. Let's see. Tyler B. Robinson asks a question that I think is kind of interesting. Is there a mass market, in other words, like a non-hobby game, that you would still enjoy playing?
Yeah. Oh, you mean like Cluedo? They mean like
Like Cluedo or
Cluedo.
Monopoly. Like it's something you'd find in a mass market store that isn't sort of like a Euro or Ameritrash style of game that we think of today. You know, like
I like Uno because I was a
There you go.
teacher and I would play.
Yeah.
Like kids would love Uno because you just take it out, play it, and I still love it just because of the interaction between the kids and they love beating you, especially if you're an
Yeah.
old like you're a teacher. They love beating you. Like that's their aim in life to beat me when we were playing board games. Yeah.
I'm glad-
So Uno.
I'm glad you mentioned Uno because that sparked my memory. This is not a game that I think people necessarily think of traditionally as a mass market game, but this is where I first found it, which is the game Wizard. I don't know if you've played that before. It's a trick-taking game, and it's fantastic, and I've played tons of it, and I highly recommend it. There's a game called Skull King, which is available now, and it's very similar. It's Wizard is that, and Wizard was the sort of the first. Skull King kind of builds on top of that, but it's the same
Yeah.
basic idea.
Skulking is great.
Yes.
Everybody should.
Well, if
play
you've played
that
Skull
game.
King, then you have played Wizard because that is what Wizard is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is. It just doesn't have a pirate theme on top of it. That's basically it. And Skull King has a couple of extra special cards that Wizard doesn't have, but it's effectively the same idea. All right, Ashley Rhodes asks, what makes you the most interested in a game at first glance? Is it artwork, theme, mechanics, or production? At first glance, ooh. I mean, these days, and I see Ian O'Toole coming up in the questions here, actually. So this is appropriate. I'm going to say, like, it is artwork to me. In part, but it's not just because of the artwork. It's if I see good artwork. Let me put this a different way. If I see poor artwork, I start to wonder how much effort they put into the other elements of their game. If that makes
Absolutely,
sense.
I agree.
So I think artwork's the first thing. So but of course you can't judge a book by its cover. I have a few games where I wouldn't necessarily be super excited for the cover, like Great Western Trail, but the game I think is much better than the cover. What about you? What first draws you? I think I heard you say agree. Like, is it art or is it?
Yeah. It's art. Also, if I see a familiar name on the box,
yes.
like if it's a Cole Worley,
Yes,
what's
yes.
that new game? It's a Cole Worley.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I'm excited.
That's a good point. If I see a designer name or an artist name even, or like in the case of Ian O'Toole, who's coming up here as a question, whenever I see him involved in a game, I go, oh, this is going to be such a relief to play because Ian pays such careful attention to making the artwork not just beautiful, but functional.
Functional, yes.
Reminders everywhere about how things work. I'd love for someone to do a documentary on how he does what he does because I have to imagine he spends a lot of time learning and playing the game and understanding exactly how it works so he can then figure out how do I best facilitate the artwork, to make that
Yeah.
gameplay experience better.
I think it helps. He loves games. Like he
Right.
really loves games. So he has a gamer's mind. So it makes him do it better.
Yeah.
I guess then rather than just a graphic designer doing it
Sure.
who's not into games.
Right, someone who's
yeah.
been hired, who's very talented maybe as a graphic designer, but doesn't necessarily understand the marriage between the artwork and the gameplay. Yeah. So Ian O'Toole asks, how are you both filling all the time you usually be traveling to conventions? Well, that's a good question, Ian. Ella, how are you filling that time?
Oh, I have work mostly,
Yeah.
content, and then I don't know, just hanging out with my family, I guess. Some of us have gotten hobbies. My husband is now a carpenter.
Oh, no kidding.
So now he's like making stuff at home. So you realize that there are a lot of stuff that you want to do that didn't have time for,
Right,
and now,
right.
yeah,
you
so
have it.
you're going into that. So, yeah.
Oh, that's
Hopefully, I do more content. That's what I want to do.
I've basically backfilled all that time with just more work for Watch It Played, essentially. Like I just, with that spare time, I'm able to do more things, so I just do more things. which is good and bad. Like, I'm very fortunate. I feel very fortunate. I've said this before, that I'm able to keep working during this very difficult time for a lot of people who aren't able to maybe go to their usual job, right? So I've been very fortunate that way. Well, it looks like
Yeah.
we're pretty much here at time, about an hour. Maybe I'll let you go here, and I'll try to wrap up a few quick questions here at the end. But I really appreciate you jumping on here and joining me for the It's Live show. I hope you had an okay time.
No, I had a great time. Thanks,
good,
Rodney.
good.
Thanks for inviting me.
Well, it was a real pleasure. It was real fair dinkum time we had, I think.
Awesome.
I don't know if I can.
I don't want to say anything. I might be getting it wrong too. I might be moving out of Australia.
They might not let me in. I don't know. Right. Well, I guess I better make this official. I need to like properly hang up on you. All right,
Okay.
Ella. Until next time. Thanks for being with me. Bye. Oh, what a good sport. All right, everybody. Well, we are actually at time here, but let me see if I can try to answer a few of these questions here in the live stream. Let me just take a quick scan. Oh, there's a few, but not too many. I think I can maybe do this. Cam301 asks, Rodney, do you think games are too expensive? Should the cost of games go down? This is a very difficult question to answer because should is it's so subjective. If you're somebody with loads of money, then a $60 game isn't too expensive. Whereas if you're somebody who's counting their pennies a little more closely, that could be a very expensive. In fact, so expensive it's not even affordable. Everyone involved in the process of making a game has to make, one would, I think, agree, some amount of reasonable profit, right? So the people who are producing the components have to, and the people who are working on the rule book, and the people who are doing the artwork, and so on and so on and so forth. And all that stuff starts to add up, and then you got to put it through a like traditional, distribution system, and then things got to be shipped to people, and so on and so forth. It's a very expensive process. So, here's what I'll say. It might be a little bit more of a satisfying answer than what I've been giving so far. I think there are opportunities in games sometimes to provide more cost-sensitive opportunities. Okay, here's a good example. So Monumental here. This is a giant game full of miniatures. I showed it earlier. But there is a version of this game. Hi, everybody. I'm still here. There's a version of this game you can get that doesn't have the miniatures. It just has cardboard tokens. I believe I'm correct about that. Someone can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But I think there's a version you can get that's just the cardboard tokens. So if you don't want or need or can afford necessarily all the expensive plastic in here, that would be a more affordable way of playing the game. Now, again, you've got to remember, the publisher then has to come up with maybe a new box size and a new format, and artists now to do the tokens and all the rest of it. So it's not going to be a solution for every situation. But that is a way in which sometimes you can kind of try to service both things, right? Both create something a little more economical and also have the option for someone who maybe can afford to buy the more glamorous thing. So, got another question here asking, what game does Luke and Andrea beat you every time in? And Andrea's telling me this is someone who's asked this question a bunch of times. Make sure when you're asking questions in the comments, you don't have to ask them multiple times. We're keeping an eye out for them. So what game does Luke and Andrea beat you every time in? Well, it used to be if there was dice in the game, it was pretty much a guaranteed win for Luke. But we have not been playing any games consistently enough that there's sort of like a game we would say, oh, this game everyone's, this person's always winning in. Because we just don't, my schedule doesn't afford me the time to sort of just pick through my library of games and go, hey, let's play Terraforming Mars 10 times in a row and see who wins the most type of thing. A lot of the times we're playing new games. And a lot of the games we do play, they can be cooperative. We're playing Mansions of Madness, then there's not going to be a winner per se. There's going to be kind of a group thing. So I don't think there's really like a good answer to that question, but I appreciate the question. The main thing to me is just that we're having fun when we play. And as long as that happens, then I guess we all get to win, right? All right, so let's go down here. We got a question from Jackie. So Jackie commenting here, Andrea, tell your dad that birds usually tap at the window when they see the reflections, right? Oh, this might be an older question from a previous one. There was a bird that was tapping on the window of our house, and it kept flying back and tapping and flying back and tapping, just really brazen. If you go to my Rodney J. Smith Twitter account, you'll find video there, like a minute and a half of this beautiful, cute little bird. I couldn't care less with the cat on the other side of the window trying to attack it. It would just keep coming back. And certainly one of the theories I've heard is that the bird keeps coming back because it sees its own reflection or thinks there's maybe a mate in the window or whatever. So, or maybe it's trying to fight. I don't know. But anyway, well, I think we did it. I think we got through the questions for this segment. So I want to thank everybody once again for joining us for another live show. I'm so disappointed I couldn't catch a cake for you. I really thought maybe I'd pull that off, but it didn't happen. And you can imagine there's no one more disappointed than Andrea right now. But I think that's it until next time, which will be, don't forget, July 8th. We'll have another live show if all goes well. I'll see you there. But until next time, thanks for watching.